then be able to be used for schools specifically and for school catalogs. So the first thing here is that here's a current catalog of sorts. And so everything on the page is basically, and not just basically, is customizable by the specific client. So each school would be able to customize the look, color, and feel and the of every single page if they wanted to, including their logo, every single part of the page. The application was designed in such a way that it could be changed to suit the needs of the specific customer. So whether that be catalogs, books, and in this specific case, school publications, then that would be available or possible. So looking over the main features here, as you see on a main application, there's, of course, there's always a list of specific pages that are in a book. So in this specific case, you'd be looking at a yearbook, and so it'd have the pages for the yearbook with the specific pages listed. So say for example, if we chose this, page 20 to 21, and the look with slim with lease. So if we look here, here would be this page and it would contain these specific products. In the case that we're talking about a yearbook, it would have that specific page of the yearbook. And there would be information and the yearbook would be presented as is. As you could see up here, there is basically, and that would be where there's the book is divided in two, that would be a spread, so there'd be 2 pages showing at once. Now that's a general view that's by default because you view books as 2 pages. So online you would see 2 pages. But on the other hand, you could also look at a book single page. So if you wanted to be more zoomed in to the page, then you'd be able to do so. If you zoom out, then you go back to the view with the spread. Now, every single product here is attached to the specific company's website and is hotspotted, so this way when they click on a specific product, it brings them to that product. So say for example, there's this, let me see here, it has Lure Starflower jacket, and if they click on that, then it brings them to that website with the specific Time for Me's jacket. So they could look at it and they could create whatever content they want there. Now, I'll get to how that could be translated for yearbooks, but essentially the most important part to remember there is that every single part of the page can be hotspotted in such a way that it could be linked to whatever type of content you want. Now, the next thing, so we went over the single page view, the spread view, and lastly there is the view all view. And so within there, of course, you could look at every single page that there is, so they'd be able to look at every single page in the yearbook and then quickly look at the pictures and then decide which page they want to go to. Now, it's also setting within the books that instead of starting at the first page of the book, so here, it could also start on any page we'd want it to. So if the school wanted to, it could start at view all. So say the students would be able to view every single page and then just click on the page that interests them. And so that might be a good option. But that, of course, is built into it. The next thing is that there is search. So if you click on the search icon and you search for something, say for example hair, then you will get every single page that has something to do with hair on it. And so, for example, if I click here, somewhere on this page there was something to do with hair. Now, this would be translated for the students in such a way that if they wanted to search for a student, say for example, John Smith, they would be able to find a list there of people with the name John Smith, or the pages actually that contained the information on John Smith. When they clicked on John Smith or the page with John Smith, then they would get to the page which contained that, and they'd be able to find the person they're looking for and the information that be contained in the yearbook itself and whatever interactive content is given on there. The next thing, which is very important for younger people and pretty well anyone that uses social media, is the ability to share. So they would be able to share any of the pages. So for example, if they're on this specific page here, so if they're on this page here, then what they're able to do is they're able to share it on Facebook. So as you see, it comes up is Time for Me. So they would be able to share this specific page with whomever they wanted to on Facebook and put that, and then their friends would be able to go on that specific page and look at their pictures if they wanted to, if that's something they wanted. And there's a wide variety of social networks that we've linked to here: Facebook, Time for Me, Pinterest, Google Plus, and Tumblr. So say for example, Tumblr has a very similar interface. So you can basically see the picture of the specific at the front cover and with this, and we change it because the client in this case wanted to see the front cover when it was shared, but we could also change it so it shares the specific page. As I said, it was written in order that it be the most versatile as possible, so this way those type of options could be chosen and it wasn't hard coded into it. So again, going over what's currently available, there's a single page view, there's a spread view, there's a view all view, and then there's a search. Likewise, they could download the whole thing. So if they wanted to download as a PDF the whole yearbook, then they'd be able to do so and look at the yearbook and keep it for personal use, whatever it is. And then they could print it at home or whatever they want. There's also ability to print, so they'd be able to print it built in, and that's a little more customized than that. If they're on spread view, they could print and they could choose whether or not they want to print, for example, just the right side, or if they wanted to print just the left side of the specific page they're on right now, then they could do so. And that would also include the spread view, which would be the default. And lastly, they'd be able to click on email, which would allow them to email a link to the page to someone else if they wanted to. Now, all of the specific information on here is basically linkable. So they would be able to change whatever it is that they want. Now, a better example in this case, and where it was adapted, and just to show the adaptability, is another catalog. And this specific one was not a yearbook, it was not a catalog of sorts, but this time it was adapted for the use case of a textbook. So in this textbook here, what you see is there's other types of links. So as you can see, they're dark. And if you notice, this is an engineering book. And so in the engineering book, for example, you see a control loop. And this is for HVAC systems. So if they hover over control loop, they see the exact definition of it. So combination of sensors, controllers, and control devices that provide the desired control, etc. Now, they could also hover over it, but likewise, if they click on it, then what comes up is a modal that basically tells them, okay, this is a definition, this is what it is. So we're able to customize that in order to provide different types of content, different types of links, and there's actually a good number of different link types that we could provide in here. So if we go to in here and say, for example, if you go on Price Industries, it brings you to their website. So this is an external link. And likewise, if you go to here, this is an email link. And if you go to any of the chapters, it'll bring you to an internal link. So we could have internal links within the yearbooks. So if there was, say, a table of contents at the very beginning, say grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, then someone would be able to click on that and bring them immediately over to the page that had grade 10, 11, or 12, or whatever type of links they wanted within there. Now, the next thing that was provided within this version was a bookmark system. So they were able to have favorites. So say, for example, if I wanted this page to be a favorite, I could click on the star. This now becomes a favorite. If I go to the star menu, the favorites here, I could choose which favorite I want to go to, which will immediately bring that to me. So if the students wanted to have that, and as I said, it's customizable. So say that specific menu item can be disabled or enabled on a use case basis. So if that specific yearbook wanted to have favorites, then it would be able to have that, and then the students would have the ability to go to, for example, they bookmark 3 pages that interest them. So say just the pages that were their grade, or say the pages that contained their picture or whatever may be. And then when they came back and they wanted to show their parents a specific page that contained their picture, they just go to the menu here, click on that, and then they'd be back to the page which contained their specific picture. Likewise with the menu, this is more extensive menu because this is a few hundred pages, but as you can see, it's broken up to chapters. So the schools with a header, and then there's subheaders, the pages themselves. So if there was specific parts, say for example grade 10, then if there was 3 pages, they'd be able to have page 1, 2, 3, and then they'd be able to set with the next header, etc. And it also shows favorites in the menu by stars. So as you see, there's a lot of customizability that can be done. And even here, if you look, there's only logout here. Now, the important part about that to notice with the logout ability there is that we allow for login. Now, it's been a big concern about the safety for students for login. So if you look at this login page, we worked with the client in order to allow login, and so it has a username or email and a password. So this way, what we could do is basically adapt the same software, because we've already developed it, in order to enable students to have usernames and passwords to log in. So say it's not open to the whole of the web, and then they'd be able to look at the content that's in there, and only students at that school and the teachers, etc., would ever be able to look at the contents that's there, if that's something that concerns them, in order to provide privacy and safety, especially in the case of students. Now, the next thing is that the software was written in order to allow for different